Welcome back to the channel. This is a little different. Some of my buddies were asking me about paint jobs on trucks, what I was doing with the salt, and a little bit about like what's my process on painting these. So I'll say first of all, when I posted this out, work in progress, because I don't like seeing the lines in it and the glue joints. Personally, I don't want to see that. And on top, I'm just getting started on the Bondo. And basically, it's all an experiment. I use multiple colors of spray paint. Sometimes I'll file and sand these trucks down before I ever get paint on them, and sometimes I can't wait. And I might want to experiment with a technique or something. And so I'll go ahead, knowing that I'm not going to get exactly what I want right away, I'll go ahead and start. And sometimes on the way, I'll find something that I really like and I'll mask it off so I don't cover it up when I keep painting. This truck here has been salted once already and scrubbed and sanded the salt off. When you're doing that salt work, if you've got access to hot water, it's even better. But yeah, I'm gonna do it again on this. So I'm just gonna give it a once over, throw some Bondo on this roof. It's a section all by itself. And the truck is pretty okay. I'm gonna give it a once over with a kind of sanding, finish sand. And then I'm gonna start with the base coat all over again. Basically a rust base coat. Usually I like to throw in another color, and like on my Corvair, which I'll throw some shots up and there's some cool videos of it. That's a couple different blues, a green, rust, some washes. There's a lot going on that one, but it boils down to a lot of scrubbing. So this looks cool now, but it'll look even better when I'm done, because those lines will go away that give it away that it's a 3D print. Nothing wrong with that. I just like to make that go away. And then on the roof, you can really see, obviously I was oriented this way when I printed it. So we're gonna make that go away too. This will be nice and smooth, just like my FC150 and all the other rigs. I'll try to bring you along for the process on this one. So the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of file down on this and get a coat of Bondo on it. Then I'll do probably a once over by hand on this one, just knock stuff down a little bit. I'm really not too worried about sometimes when the salt leaves a little bit of a texture, because when I do my washes, to kind of modulate the rust color, rust is not usually just one color, it's a few different layers of contrast within brown to almost purple sometimes. So when I get one all done, then I'll wash it with a darker color, and wherever there's little pock marks from the salt, it goes to there. So it helps make it look pretty cool. So basically I never get it right the first time, and I just keep going until I like it, and then I stop, and then I make another truck. Links in this grow, right? Let's go. By the way, this Scout is being built on a new 10.3 builder's kit, and it will drop on anybody's chassis that has the new 10.3 builder's kit, or a Coyote, probably other 10.3s too, but you got to stick around and find out how. I like a big flat bar on it because it actually just works on the high spots and doesn't really over dig into any stuff that's already okay. I like to keep a wire brush around to clean the file sometimes. And I'll clean up stuff that's harder to get to by hand also. Knock edges down. I did actually sand this piece once with an orbital before I ever got paint on it. Just kind of knock some high stuff down a little bit. But yeah, honestly, I spend a lot of time kind of on these bodies, but I'm always happy after. And the nice thing about putting paint on it prematurely, so to speak, is that it highlights where you need attention. But you get to a point where you're looking at one like this, it feels great, but looks crazy. you almost have to get a coat of paint on it, so it will then again give you the opportunity to highlight what needs attention, and then just keep going. And eventually you got to where you want to go. Thin to win on the Bondo, you know, otherwise you're going to be sanding a bunch. But ideally, if you're not in a hurry and you have patience, unlike me, you'll file and get as smooth as you can before you ever put any medium on it at all. But there's no, you got to do what's right for you. There's no wrong way to do it. The one thing about fresh paint and the Bondo is the Bondo paste will re-emulsify the paint if it's not like fully cured out. And if you're like me, you don't want to wait for it to be fully cured out. So when I spread this Bondo last night, the paint was not cured out, and so it just kind of mixes with the Bondo, which I don't think is the end of the world actually, but it does make it a little stickier and harder to work with. And you could orient this different and put the line somewhere else, but I figure it's easier to sand a big flat space and finish a big flat space than it is some of this. So that's why I do it sometimes that way. And it's funny to me that I make them as smooth as I can get them just to rust them out. But the thing is, this process is the same kind of process I would do if I wanted a factory finish as well. Just like fill and fill and fill. And you get to a point where the paint can do the fill work. And a lot of times, like I was talking earlier, I use multiple colors. I can kind of see the layers and what's going on. And it's almost like a fun kind of archaeology, you know, because you're not always sure what you're going to get. You can kind of plan it, but you're not always sure what you're going to get. But this is exactly what I would do if I was wanting a factory finish also. It's just the more you do, the better the finish is going to end up being, whether you rust it or not. And if you're doing this rust business, there's a handful of ways to do it. Sometimes I just scrub, and sometimes I do the salt chipping deal, which is also scrubbing. But once you get paint on it that you like, if you over scrub it, you're liable to get into these lines again. So there's a point where you got to just get close and kind of call it in a way, and let your airbrush and or washes kind of do some of the rest of it. I use clear with the colors as well. As I'm doing layers, I'll also let it build up with like clear. I like matte finish or satin on my trucks. With Lexan thin to win for sure, but on this stuff, like I throw it on and I'll do multiple colors, and I will not even wait for them to dry before I throw another color on it. I use multiple grits. Right now is a fairly rough grit, 120. 120 is kind of like, for me, a demo grit. I don't think I have anything that's 80 anymore. Maybe one sanding sponge. It's totally a mess. I always look forward to doing it, but it's like I got to make time, because once I start one, I'm kind of obsessed with it until it's finished. Honestly, like the details here, like this edge, yeah, sometimes you can work that. Other times it's like, you know what, it's okay, because I know I'm gonna want later for that to be a spot where the washes actually kind of stick, like to emulate grime on a real one or something. So I don't worry about it tremendously. I'll give it a once over. But so just my thing is, don't feel like you're going to be done the first time. Probably you could be. It depends how far you want to take it. But what's really been cool to see is I like this truck right now looks pretty cool, but if I do it one more time, it looks even better. And all the scrubbing the salt off and everything and wet sanding, it really in a way polishes the paint, and it just starts to look Really cool. I think that's pretty good. But it definitely needs some Bondo. So I'm gonna do it. Bondo paste. I'll put a link in the description. I just get it off Amazon. I got an Amazon affiliate deal. If you want to help support the channel, you can use that. And we're selling these trucks too. I think they're each a bit of a artwork, so to say. So there's we just started a Shopify, so little by little, one at a time, you know, we're putting these rigs up. And you can get them a couple different ways: body only, that's going to just fit right on your chassis, or sometimes like sell it like a roller, like the whole rig ready to go. So links to that stuff in the description as well. Anyway, just spread it, just put it on, and you can get really finesse with it. But you know, right now there's a lot of fill to do, so I have to hesitate sometimes when I know I want to work the edge. What's nice about a curvy card too is you can clean that up without leaving too much of a mess. But I know I want to work the edges, but I'm going to get it on smooth on top first and let it dry up. And even this paint from yesterday, like I was saying before, how it'll re-emulsify, that's what it's doing. So if you get a nice pass, just leave it, because otherwise it'll start digging into the paint. And if you put it on thin, it dries fast, which is kind of nice as well. I'll run these edges too. After this dries, usually I'll come up and over it like that. This kind of stuff here is pretty tricky because of the contour on it, so you're really not going to use a flat bar for most of this. Maybe right there you could, but again, you if you don't like what you did, just paint it again. You can't mess it up. And I didn't sand or file this at all. Knock down the high spots so you can see right away what presents. We're going to kind of speed things up a little bit. Try to kind of fast forward the commentary, so to say. But yeah, like I said earlier, I've already done the salt chipping on this once, and you can finish a car without doing the salt. I just happen to be doing that. That is a glue joint you're seeing me work on right there, and the glue exposes itself kind of clear, so you in a way will see back into the filament and the glue joint. But I hid that glue joint right there along the panel line of the door and the back of the front hood there. So there's just a tiny little bit there really at the bottom rocker that needed worked, and that's what that was doing. I was filing that. All right, so here we're on our way. You can see a lot of different color variation here, and the paint really tells the story. So just for reference, the blue was the last color that I put on in this multiple layers of paint, which I think is a fantastic filler, and it highlights what needs the attention. You see this digital chatter kind of, you know, from the print lines and whatnot. So wherever you're seeing like orange and red, those were obviously like high spots. What you see that's blue has either not been touched a lot or it's a low spot. And so this is a good prep for whatever kind of finish you want to do, whether it's a patina finish, a salt chip patina, or just a regular paint like factory fresh. This worked out pretty good. I'm getting ready to do the salt chipping on this, but I wanted to talk about what we're looking at here. You can see the lines, but you won't necessarily feel them. But as we keep on building up paint, this will keep on going away. Like you can definitely see them here, but it's smooth. So we're getting there. Here we go, second time around with this technique, and I'm putting on my rust undercoat. And think of the salt as a mask. That's exactly what it is. So underneath that salt, the rust will remain. And I did speed this up just a little bit, but I'm putting the salt on where I want it to fail, where I want it to look like weather has got to it and that kind of thing. Getting the bottom rockers a little bit. Some of the static modeler guys will use water for the salt to stick to. I'm not that patient, so I just go with the paint, because if you use water for the salt to stick, you have to wait then for it to dry really before you get going with the paint, and I don't want to do that. So this has already been worked one whole time. So 2 different colors of like rust. There's going to be multiple applications of salt on this. But even if you don't want to do a patina, this process is good for working out the print lines and glue joints if you don't want to see them. It's a lot of work, I get it. It's not for everybody, you know. But I've had enough people asking me lately how I'm doing it, and this is one way. And sometimes you can go cheap and not spend the time with the salt and stuff and just kind of give it a dusting when you're done. If you don't want a solid, perfect factory finish, you can stand back and spray this and kind of dirty it up, or you can get a toothbrush and flick the paint on. Just using regular table salt on this. I've done it with kosher salt before, and that's fine too. But for me, I'm going for depth. And even if I know I'm doing a red paint job, I don't mind that there's a blue or a green in there underneath somewhere, right? And after this rust, you'll see that I hit a couple different shades of blue and then salt it again. So it is, like I said, an experiment. So have fun with it. One thing I didn't show in this video is the washes I did afterwards. If that's something that you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll show that on the next one. So I just like making these rigs. Like this one is literally available. I'm not heartbroken if no one wants it, because I think it looks fantastic. And I did get some footage of it today, and that's what I broke in and showed in the video a little bit. But I want to do a full run for real review style once I get the seats and the driver in, and I throw a hobby wing in it. I drove it today with a brushed RTR system I had laying around on a 10.3, and it was fine, but there's nothing as good as that brushless FOC stuff. Totally cool. And so you can get that with the hobby wing motors, and I'm sure there's others. I know Spectrum has 2-in-1s as well. And on builds like this, the 2-in-1 is really the way to go. You don't have to worry about putting that ESC anywhere, and you don't have that big ferrite ring for RF noise in the way. Pretty nice. But yeah, here's the blue happening. And if you're still here, you're awesome. Thanks so much. I know this isn't for everybody, but I thought it'd be cool to show it off, how I got there. So finally the red's going on, right? And the red is gloss, which you never end up with a gloss paint job, but I scrub and sand so much that the shine gets knocked off of this. Not to mention when I'm all done and after the washes, I do a clear coat of like a matte finish or a satin clear. So it's fine. And then I sprayed a little bit of rust color on top of this red as well, just to kind of knock down that perfect red. I don't want that. So you can see with this little bit of rust on top, just here and there, it kind of starts, it's not orange, but it definitely knocks down the red. And then here's what it looks like before you start scrubbing on it. And for salt, you can start scrubbing right away and then get after it with like some sandpapers and stuff. I'll use just like a nylon brush and sandpaper to start scrubbing on it. There's what the roof looks like. It's not done yet, but here I'm getting awfully close. Haven't done washes yet, but getting pretty excited about what I'm starting to see. And it's close. And what's nice about the washes is all the little pock marks from where the salt was accepts your wash really nice. So you can go with the roof's looking good. You can go with a darker color and it's going to look really nice. So here's a little footage of it today, and a turtle. Hello. Super fun having it out today. Stick around for the rest of the video, and I'm going to show the slick mounts that we've got for this. This body will go on any 10.3 that has like the new front bumper mounts. Nailed it. So if you're interested in getting one of these yourself, trail tested, I'm selling these as a one-off. So we're selling the bodies, and then sometimes I'm selling them like a roller right now, so chassis and all if you want. But if you have a new 10.3 or Coyote, this will fit right on your rig. All you have to do is screw on our rear bracket and take off the stock rear bumper and front bumper. But I'll show you the video coming up in the future. Thanks.